Welcome to China Horse Business, the one and only podcast focusing on the booming Chinese equine market. Bringing to you by two experts of Chinese equine industry, Zoe King and Wen Li, from Shanghai and Beijing, introducing China to the world.
Hey Zoe, how are you today?
I'm feeling good. How about you, Wen? What's going on?
I'm good, and the winter has come. The weather in Beijing is quite cold now.
Same here in Shanghai, very chilly. But the National Junior Champion Championship will be held in Shanghai Aijiu Equestrian Club this weekend. I will be there to see the last big competition in Shanghai this year.
Cool. Can we give our listeners a summary about the National Championship in today's China News session?
For sure, the National Championship is composed of 3 competition sessions: National Jumping Championship, National Dressage Championship, and National Junior Jumping Championship, all organized and supported by Chinese Equestrian Association.
The National Jumping Championship was held in Nanjing Jinling Equestrian Club on the 12th November. 25 combinations of rider and horse were qualified for this round for gold medal. They all represent and compete on behalf of one provincial team. Finally, Ba Gen from Anhui team won the first place, followed by Duan Yihua from Zhejiang team and Li Yaofeng from Guangdong team.
This competition is the highest level organized by CEA this year. The gold medal is very variable in terms of winning scores. In addition, the winning riders can even apply for Chinese elite athlete or level 1 athlete titles.
The second round of the championship dedicated to dressage has been held in Highland Equestrian Club in Wuxi from 25 to 27 November. We have introduced the Giant Club in Season 2, Episode 1, and interviewed one of their foreign coaches in the same episode.
Right. And this year's national championship will be concluded by the National Junior Jumping Championship the same weekend in Shanghai Aijiu Equestrian Club. We interviewed Catherine Chen from this club and shared the story of her charity project dedicated to riding for disabled and troubled kids. You can go back to Season 1, Episode 26 and listen my chat with Catherine, who is also the daughter of the owner of Shanghai Aijiu Equestrian Club.
Brilliant. Very inspiring young lady. The second generation of riding has grown up to play more active role in our industry. For example, during the 6 junior riders represent Hong Kong this year, we can find Robin Ho, who is daughter of Dave Ho. Her father set up a professional riding stable in Shenzhen to facilitate the training of his daughter and her friends. You can listen to their story in Season 2, Episode 25.
The other young lady is Coco Shi. She is the daughter of Michelle Wang, who is the owner of Beijing Equus International Riding Club. I talked to Michelle in Season 1, Episode 3 of our podcast. Go back there and listen.
Zoe, you're going to watch the National Junior Jumping Championship this weekend in Shanghai Aijiu Equestrian Club. Shall we introduce this host club into this China Club session?
Good idea. Shanghai Aijiu Equestrian Club is founded in 2015 with their first club located in Chongming Island, 1.5 hour driving distance from city center. It is quite far away, but the island is famous for its ecologic and environment-friendly positioning, attracting many Shanghai families to spend their weekends here. According to the club, it has more than 100 horses on site. Besides of the family tour and experience, the club is more focused on professional training and competition. They actively organize and host many competitions from regional to national level throughout the year.
In 4 years' time, Aijiu has expanded its network into 3 other sites, one in Minhang district with around 20 horses, the second site in Pudong district with around 40 horses. These 2 clubs in city have brought the equestrian sport closer to its final consumers. The latest one is very special. The club collaborates with the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Chongming Island to set up a small outdoor arena on site. Instead of 2 tennis courts and a basketball court, the hotel is equipped with a mini horse stable.
The owner of the club, Mr. Chen Lizhong, is very proud of his business model. The in-city clubs and mini club in the hotel make the first riding experience easier for many young riders. After a while, when they want to be more committed to the sport and to make significant progress, they can switch to the home base in Chongming Island.
In terms of horse and staff management, this model comes also with some advantages. They can rotate between small size and the home-based. Mr. Chen finds it especially good for horses to change air and have better mood.
Very interesting. Well, in today's China story section, I interview an American girl who is coaching in Shanghai Western Equestrian Club. We also introduced this club in Season 1, Episode 2. Please go back there and listen to it. Now, let's listen to Stephanie Perry's China story. Hi, Stephanie. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Stephanie, first of all, how long have you been in China, in Shanghai?
I've been in China for 4 years and I've been in Shanghai for 3 years.
Exactly 3 years of COVID time.
Yeah, the whole COVID situation is part of how I ended up moving from Zhengzhou, where I originally was, to Shanghai.
Oh, I see. So, actually, you are from the USA. What brought you to China in the first place?
For one thing, I've always been kind of really interested in the Asian culture. Like, I've always been very interested in visiting China, Japan, Korea, all of those places before I made this move to China. And then this will sound kind of silly in a way. I was working for a small private stables in America, and I was in North Carolina, and the stables decided to relocate. They were going to relocate to Florida, and I did not want to relocate. This is why it's funny. I didn't want to relocate to Florida, so I was looking for a new stables to work for, and I stumbled across an ad for a pony club in Zhengzhou. And I jumped on it, you know. I was like, I've always wanted to do this, and if I never, if I never take advantage of the opportunity, then life will pass me by. So I didn't want to move to Florida, and somehow I ended up moving to China. But it was always a goal of mine, and just I saw the advertisement looking for foreign instructors, and I guess I haven't looked back since.
So between Zhengzhou and Florida, the choice is very evident.
Yeah.
Cool. When you come to Zhengzhou, you know you are going to work in a pony club, in an equestrian club in China. So you have been working in the same industry back to the States. So I think the transformation should be very smooth.
Yes and no. Like, I had all the experience I needed to do the job, but for one thing, there was the whole part of going to a new country that I didn't know the language or anything. And also in Zhengzhou, the horse industry is extremely new. And when I went, it was so new that there were no other opportunities except my pony club for these kids, these students, to learn to ride. And the pony club was even brand new. When I went, they didn't even have horses. I helped them get their first horses. So it's not that it was difficult or that it wasn't smooth, but there was just so much to it because I helped them go find the ponies and train the ponies to be able to begin the classes with the students. Our students all had never, met a horse before or ridden a horse before. They were all brand new to the sport. So there was really a lot involved. It was challenging in a very good way.
Yeah, and then you moved to Shanghai to another equestrian club, Western Equestrian Club, middle size, I will say, a middle size club in Shanghai, quite well equipped and good horses, very good ambiance. So you have been witnessed the growth and the evolution of the Chinese riding population in the past 3-4 years. From your perspective, how the Chinese riding population evolved?
I think the sport is becoming increasingly popular. More and more people are coming to pick up the sport. I feel like more and more of the students are becoming more serious about the sport, wanting to have their own horses, go to more competitions. I've seen the average level of the riders in China improving, steadily improving. That, I see more and more, of course the professionals were always good at what they were doing, but I see more and more of the amateur riders, the students, showing a higher level of ability. And I see like a lot of flashy might be the wrong word, but in terms of the clubs, the competitions and everything, it's just everything is increasingly bigger and better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, in terms of horses, do you see any improvement in the quality of horses, number of horses, and also, of course, the welfare of horses?
I do see an improvement in those things, and also even at West End, I'm in a unique position. We now receive the imported horses. They come to our facility for the quarantine, not to our main facility, but we have a secondary one. So I even see the new horses coming into China and the quality of the horses. I feel like I see horses becoming more and more stable in terms of, they're less either spooky, they're less excitable, they know their jobs better, just like the students are getting better and kind of know what they're doing better riding the horses seem to know their jobs better. If the students make mistakes or they go to competitions, the horses are less excitable and more likely to help out as a team between the horse and rider.
After all those years, seeing equestrian sports in China from brand new to a very rapid growth nowadays, do you believe in the future of equestrian sports in China? And what do we need the most to make a bigger step and consistent growth?
I definitely think there's a big future for the equestrian industry in China, just from the growth I've seen, from the increasing passion, the Chinese people, the Chinese riders that I have encountered, really China trying to progress towards it. Like I said, becoming bigger and better at things. But things I think that could really help, one huge thing to me is more interconnectivity on a national level and an international level. A huge difference for me in China versus what I've experienced in America, or what I know is very much the experience in other Western countries, is say the community is much more tight-knit, even if it's spread out. There's a lot more travel between clubs for competitions. We in the West, we like to do a lot of clinics where a high-level trainer will offer, a 3-day clinic to come and train with them, and there's just a lot more. It's easier to travel with your horses. It's easier to travel between clubs. One, because our industries are more developed, there are just more clubs. So it's, instead of being 2 hours to get to the next club, you can go 15, 20 minutes and there's another club. But also just, I don't know if it's in terms of communication, but even just internationally, we like US and Canada, England and France, Germany and France, the US and England, Germany and US. Like we're just so much going on in between us. And, not only in terms of the competitions, in terms of the training, but also just, say, social media. We're all very much connected with each other. The kind of the trends, the ideas, the discussion, it's all very much shared. And I don't see that kind of interconnectivity with China. I know nationally it's difficult because China's huge. But say in America, it's totally normal to go from, one side of the country to the other side of the country for a competition. In China, I feel like for a lot of people that's more difficult. Like the club I worked for in Zhengzhou, like I don't know how many of those kids could ever even imagine coming to Shanghai for a competition. And not that the travel and everything isn't happening. I just think that an increase in that ability to connect with other clubs in other provinces, as well as an increase in the ability to connect more directly with the other nations, the other riders in other countries, because I feel like China mostly connects in terms of importing. They import the horses, they import, maybe foreign coaches like me, they import the equipment and all the right stuff, but I don't feel like there's that much give and take. And I really think if that was to evolve, it would really help so much in terms of China's overall development with the equestrian industry.
Wow, well put. I totally agree with you. Last question. In your club, you guys have a lot of young riders, right? Teenage rider, even younger. But some of them drop out in the middle of the course, or they finally decided not to continue to ride. In your experience, what's the most frequent reason for them, for the young riders to drop out?
In China, I think one of the big reasons that riders will drop out is because there's so much pressure in terms of academics and they don't have the time. I've known several students who have taken long breaks or have kind of had to move on because they just have so much focus and also kind of a pressure to, do the extra math classes, the extra English classes, the extra Chinese classes, the extra, whatever, just because they need to have those good grades, get into those good schools, and really have that academic progress. Not that that's the only reason, but I do think that's a huge factor in terms of being able to find the time to commit. Another thing is, I know for some people, this connects to what I said earlier about the interconnectivity or lack of in China, is I know for some people it can be difficult to regularly go, and so they kind of just fall out of it because, they have to travel an hour, 2 hours, and if there's traffic, like on a big holiday, forget it. It's terrible, the ability to be able to access the clubs sometimes for some people.
Yeah, great. Well, very insightful sharing. And thank you, Stephanie from Shanghai. And I hope to talk to you again. And so great to have you on our podcast.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. This was really cool and interesting to do. And anytime.
Thank you.
It seems like a fascinating journey for Stephanie in China.
Yes, and I believe there will be more coaches like Stephanie will come to China when the borders are reopened. So guys, if you have any plan to work with China, it is really the right time to pick it up now.
You can also write to us to talk about your equine project for China. Just drop us an email at contact@wonderheavenhost.com.
We look forward to discussing your exciting ideas and projects for China in a post-COVID time. A strong rebound will come.
All right, let's wrap it up for today. It was fun to hang out with you, Zoe.
Same here. Talk again next week.
Bye.
This podcast is co-hosted by Zoe King and Wen Li, powered by Wonder Horse, a business solution provider focusing on Chinese equine market and a bespoke equestrian community in China.